welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Thanks so much for joining us, hanging out, having a beer, some conversations. We always appreciate that. I am Tim Dennis. Brian Hewitt, how's it going?
It's good, I think. I don't know. I'm ready to drink some beer, honestly. I'm in the mood, so
This is the time for it, Brian.
And the
this
place.
is the time. Yep. Nate, how's it going?
Going well. Sad I had to miss last week's show. Happy to be back. Happy to have cold beer in my glass like Brian. It's a great day to have a beer. So
it's a great
Tim,
day.
How are you doing?
To have beer. I'm fine. Okay. I was ill this week, guys. I was horribly ill earlier in the week. Had to take a day off. I spent 20 hours in bed. So, in a day. So, yeah. Horrible, excruciating pain. Couldn't stand up or walk or anything. So, other than that, Nate, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. I'm better now, though.
Okay, well, that's good.
I'm
Dang.
better now.
Okay.
Yeah. Rough couple of days, guys, but we're on the bright side of things now. But anyhow, beer time, chilling out, unwinding. Nate's off work, Brian's off work, Tim's off work. Those are all good things. So, guys, speaking of beers of the week. Brian, what are you getting into, sir?
So I got into my pregame beer. My favorite pregame beer, basically, is Bitburger Premium Pilsner. And German Pilsner. Love it. You've heard me talk about it. It's great. Drink some. I could use a case of it today, I think. But I have one, and it was great. So
that'll have to do. And
now I'm working on other halves out for trout. I love the names of these beers. I got this one specifically for the name, and I had it on the can. It's got a guy angling, probably a fly fisher catching trout. Makes me miss fishing and makes me realize that yet again this year I have not gone out and done any fishing at all.
Are your hip waders still at least hanging over the shower curtain in your bat? Okay,
yeah,
so they're ready. If you need them, they're ready, right?
If they still fit, they're probably.
Okay.
I'm guessing the lining is slowly turning to dust inside it. I don't know, but yeah. So this is a double New England IPA. It's packed with Citra Brew One, which I keep seeing referenced. I think that's a hop product, and Eldorado hops, which I enjoy, and I believe. Tim, you're not a fan of Eldorado so much as a recall.
Nah, I don't believe I've enjoyed those most of the time. There's exceptions to everything, but generally, if it's the focal hop, it's not. That's the one that gives like the candied fruit.
I think it's kind of a candy type of thing, and I like me some hop candy, so I'm good with that.
Okay, fair enough.
I was good. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Brian. No, you go ahead, sir.
All right. I was gonna do the post game with Jackie O's Dark Apparition. I have it tentatively on my list because I'm in the mood for drinking, so maybe that'll still show up. But I decided instead to get into the can that Bo Mike Nate gave me of Omegang's Nitro 3 Philosophers, which is a blend of quadruple ale and Creek on Nitro. And I'm very much looking forward to getting into that. In fact, once I saw the can, I'm like, well, I can't not open it now. I'm like, I'd forgotten I'd had it. And I'm like, this is happening. This is happening today. So that's my plan. I don't know about the Jackie O's Dark Apparition. That may be going too far.
Okay. That actually addressed my question because I noticed that the Jackie O's was on there, but was marked out. So I'm like, okay, there's a reason it's still on the list rather than just removed there. So.
Yeah,
it's a maybe. It's an alternate, right?
It's the possibility, depending on how reckless I feel tonight.
Okay,
I mean, it's not advised for me to do this, but that doesn't mean anything.
But we'll see how things go.
Exactly.
Yeah. Nate, what are you sipping on, sir?
So currently, my glass, beers from my road trip tonight. So currently, my glass from the Alchemist up in Vermont. I've got their Zomber beer, which is a farmhouse saison. This one is just really light, and even though today it was a little warm in Atlanta, and so it's reminding me of like the hotter days, and this is just something to really kick my feet up and cool off with. And then on deck from Burial, I've got Fest, which is their Fest beer, and that's just, 'tis the season.
It is. Have you had that one before, Nate? The Burial one?
I've had one can of it already. It's light, it's tasty, and I am looking forward to it being on deck. When I was at the brewery, we were drinking their Oktoberfest.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't think I've had their Fest beer before. So, but Burial does good work. So I imagine it's pretty tasty stuff. Good deal. Awesome. Well, Brian, speaking of Fest beers, we did a little festing activities this past weekend. So In my town, we have a pretty bustling downtown area, lively. I would say there's a lot of shops and restaurants. We've got an amphitheater down there where they do concerts and stuff. I'm not in a huge town, but I think our downtown area is better than it's a little more than you would expect in a smaller town. But my point being is they did an Oktoberfest pub crawl down there this past weekend, and several different restaurants and bars participated. We started at a restaurant where we sat down and we had schnitzel and Schweinhaxe and spatzel and potato pancakes, all the good stuff. Had a little local Oktoberfest beer, and then we strolled over to a place called the Woodstock Beer Market, Stout Brothers Woodstock Beer Market, and got, what was the one you got? Iron on tap there, right, Brian? I think they had a keg of that.
I did, yes. I had the Iron there, and I also got a small pour. They actually had a pretty good line going on. So by the time I got to the front
they moved it well though. So
they did. They also had, and this wasn't Oktoberfest or seasonal, but I couldn't resist. They had a rye barrel aged Vietnamese Speedway Stout. I'm like, well, I have to get that. So I was double fisting it. I was drinking the Inger, and I had the smallest pour they would do of the other one just because I had to have it. And yeah, it was good.
We had the Reformation Oktoberfest, which is my local brewery, here in Woodstock, and we moseyed on around. We went over to visit our friends at Truck and Tap.
We did.
Ran into an old neighbor there, grabbed a beer there, and hung out for a little while. And we went, not exactly Oktoberfesty, but we've got a Bud Shop candy store down there, and that's, Brian, I know you're familiar with them, but Nate, are you familiar with the Dubai chocolates?
I have seen them around. I know they somehow incorporate pistachio, but I've not partook.
Yeah, so it's a pistachio cream in the center, and I forget what the stuff is. There's some like shredded wheat kind of thing, shredded rice that goes in there, and I guess the pistachio cream in that, and then chocolate makes it the Dubai chocolate. But for some reason, it also makes the price absolutely ridiculous. Like Brian and I were out at the mall one time, and they had Dubai chocolate bars there, and I hadn't tried them. So I'm like, yeah, give me a cup. I'm like, Brian, you want one? He's like, sure. So I grabbed them. It was $40 for 2 chocolate bars, man. And then the little place that we had, the little downtown place we had here, had Dubai chocolate bonbons, or they were Buckeyes, weren't they, Brian?
I think they're Buckeyes.
Yeah, but still, we're talking something the size of a Buckeye, and they were $5 a piece, Nate. For ridiculous. Like a 2-bite piece of chocolate there. And I can't figure out, I know I've had other things with pistachio in them, and it does not make the price triple like it does with these Dubai chocolates. So are we paying for candy hype here?
It's the TikTok tax. That's what you're paying.
Gosh,
it's because it became a hot thing on TikTok. This is my understanding. I don't go to TikTok as a personal rule and like a point of pride.
Yeah.
But I'm aware that this is where this all came from. I like it. And actually, my wife picks up, like, you can get them at like Marshall's or something, like inexpensively. And I have like the same bonbons that we would have had to, or like Buckeye things we would have gotten there for $5. Probably get an entire package of these the truffles size ones for like probably $5 or $6. So
yeah,
like, I get those.
That's the way to go.
I munch on those throughout the week because she just keeps buying them. I'm like, I'll keep eating them. I'm like, I love these things. This is fine. I'm like, I'm not getting any thinner, but I don't care. I'm like,
but these are delicious. Yeah. These are tasty. Yeah, they are good. I got to give it that. They are good. So not worth the cost of entry there.
I didn't know what else. The other thing was in there. The texture is interesting with that, like the wafer thing. I'm like, what is this? Kale or something? I'm like, I don't know what the heck the stringy bits that are in there.
It kind of feels like, those, I think they just call them sugar wafers. That's just like the wafer things. Yeah. So it's like that kind of shredded is what it reminds. The texture reminds me like if they took those wafer cookies and shredded them. But I think forget. I'm sure
the texture is key. I mean, that really does kind of drive it home. The pistachio portion of it is wonderful. I love pistachios. It's great. Love that. But that texture is probably involves like pre-processing. Like I've got to make this entire cookie and then shred it up and then put it in this other thing. So that's probably what's going on.
Crazy, man. Maybe that's it. Maybe they're laborious, Brian.
Probably.
Maybe that's why we got to pay so much. But that was definitely, it was a good time, man. They had a little 4-piece German horn band on the street, lots of people in lederhosen and all that. So it was a good time.
We got a question from one of our commenters over on YouTube from Beer Snob Sean. He's asking, what is our favorite pistachio beer? His is Indeed's Pistachio Cream Ale. I don't have a go-to pistachio beer.
You know what? I believe the only pistachio beer I've ever tried, I brewed. So do you remember, what did we call our brown ale, Brian?
Oh, the hipster nostalgia brown ale?
Hipster nostalgia. And we did several different variants. And if I remember correctly, I believe the pistachio was a favorite. That was really good. I think vanilla and pistachio, but we got some kind of extracts. And so we flavored them, I think, we bottled the beer and then added a couple drops of these different. So we had a coconut, we had a vanilla, we had a coffee, we had the pistachio, we had a cardamom. I remember.
It definitely had a cardamom. I remember that. Yeah.
I mean, just because I don't think I've tried any others, my favorite pistachio beer is, hipster nostalgia nut brown ale with pistachio by the Mostly Harmless Brewing Company.
I also choose his beer.
There we go. I also choose this guy's beer. So
that's right.
Nate, how about you? Have you had other pistachio beers?
So I'm going through my Untapped, and I don't even have anything checked in that had pistachio in it. So I don't have a go-to pistachio beer.
Hey, so there we go.
The market is wide open. I could potentially have a bunch of them here in the near future.
We need a Dubai chocolate stout. Somebody needs to get on that right away.
There's got
EPO is going to be awful on that, though.
Oh yeah. It's going to be a 12-ounce bottle is going to be $43. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but that's got to exist already. Actually, that sounds pretty darn good, man. To be quite honest,
drink it. Yeah. I'm sure Jason Pellet would have made it at Orpheus were it a thing.
No,
and there is probably something that one of his stouts that I have that has pistachio in it. I'd be willing to bet.
I don't think Pellet would have done a Dubai. I don't think he would have on principle. Scott Hedin at Burnt Hickory Brewery would have done it.
Fair point, but he would have gotten the chocolate bars and just ground them up and dumped them in the keg.
Just put them in there. Put them in a blender with some stout, and boom.
And it probably would have been good too.
Stout?
It would have looked terrible, but it would have been good.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to look out for pistachio beers and some Dubai chocolate stout. And Sean, I gotta say, I think a cream ale would be a nice base for a pistachio. So, cool.
Would be a bad idea.
I don't think I even know of Indeed. So I'm guessing they're not ones that we get around here. We'll have to do some market research and see what we can find. Cool. New adventures, Indeed. Guys. Yeah. Well, Brian, a story we shared last week that we have a little bit of an update on. Asahi got cyberattacked last week, and they closed down a lot of their breweries. And there was some announcement. It's a developing story. But the latest we heard is at least some of the breweries were back online.
Yeah. So on Monday, Asahi announced that they were back online after being taken down, over with the cyber attack last week at some point, midweek, I think, maybe Wednesday or something like that. Though apparently they restarted some of their production at 6 plants before that, like before Monday, late last week, but it was some production. I'm not sure how much there was. I think there's a lot of people are trying to figure out what the state of things are because it's such a large company. And apparently company representatives were visiting customers in person to take handwritten beer orders to keep things flowing. So, and those orders were filled manually. So it was a very manual process for a period of time. They are not yet at full capacity though. They've restarted shipments of their popular Asahi Super Dry and plan to resume shipments of more than a dozen other products on October 15th, if not before. As you might expect, the disruption has meant a shortage of Asahi beers in stores and bars around Japan, but Japan accounts for about half of the brewers' total sales, and apparently operations outside of Japan were not affected, so it was really the fast-moving market in Japan. So I don't think, if you're a fan of Asahi, you probably haven't seen much in the way of a disruption. I saw another story.
Unless you're listening from Japan.
It's true. Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, if you're listening from Japan, it may be tough to find it for a little while, but they're sending it again. It's only going to be a blip. Last week we talked about there being no confirmed reports of any data stolen. Now there are unconfirmed reports that I think it was Security Week was talking about it, where a cyber attack group called Killian, Qilin or something like that, Killin, something like that. Anyway, they claimed credit for doing this, and it's just what's a ransomware type of thing where you got to pay them. So apparently they probably got paid, but they claimed it to have something like 9 gigs of documents that they stole off of the servers. None of this has been verified, so it may not be true, but apparently they took some data. So it's the possibility that accounts were leaked or something like that. Nobody seems to know for sure at this point in time, but yeah, if you were doing business directly with Asahi, and I wasn't, but other than maybe buying their beer occasionally at a Japanese restaurant, it's possible that your stuff might be leaked. I don't know. We'll find out. I guess it's going to continue to develop in the following weeks here.
Okay. So it was reported that they got some records, Brian. Is that correct?
They claim that they have them, but nobody has authenticated that this is really a thing. You can't trust people like this. They're like, we've got this data. They could be lying. Why would it matter if they told the truth or not? Apparently this operation runs as what is it? Cyberattack as a platform, or like they provide a platform for other people to hire them to attack other companies. So they're kind of a pretty nefarious group. And I say that with all due respect because I don't want them attacking me. I got nothing. I don't want you bothering me. But that's just what was reported. They have claimed that this is their responsibility or something they did.
Yeah, for some reason we've got hacked a few times. Our website is actually currently down because they were quite aggressive with it. Like we would fix it and we bought what was supposed to keep people out, and they came back in, and I don't know why they wanted to mess with Little Beer Guys Radio. What was it they did? I think it was the start. Was it at the start of the Ukraine war?
Like, it was, yeah.
Something out like free save Ukraine. I was like, y'all, we're on your side on this one. We're you don't need to hack us and take over our website. So
my theory is
we're just a beer podcast, y'all. That's uncalled for.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, you need to know about Ukraine and all. Like, we're aware of this. Like, you can't escape it in the news. And I'm like, is this some sort of weird disinformation type of thing where Russia's doing this to make us annoyed at Ukraine for doing this? I'm like, and it's really them, and they're playing some sort of like 6-dimensional checkers or whatever the heck the saying is.
We didn't deserve it. That's for sure.
That's the point. And I don't think we've changed our opinion about anything as a result. It was like these people are totally misguided, and we're definitely not supporting what's happening against them over
we're the victims. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, Oktoberfest, I believe the fest is it officially over?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
So Oktoberfest, the German version, is officially over. Of course, here it's going to go into early November in the U.S. because that's how we roll. But actually, it was speaking of threats and attacks, and that Oktoberfest was actually closed down briefly due to a bomb threat.
Yeah, so it was actually closed for a few hours last week, completely closed down. Apparently, somebody had made a bomb threat, or so they thought, and the authorities had reason to believe it could be real. It was believed that the bomb threat was linked to an actual explosion that happened earlier in the same day across town from the festival. It turned out not to be connected. I think there was references to Oktoberfest in it. Anyway, the police didn't find anything. They reopened the festival after a few hours, and from the sound of it, it was just a misinterpretation of a letter they found near the earlier explosion. I think it mentioned Oktoberfest, but it wasn't specifically mentioning the festival, but they thought it was. And so anyway, yeah. So for a brief time, there was a bit of a drama at Oktoberfest, but then it carried on and nobody was injured. And
I guess better safe than sorry in those situations there. So gotta make sure. So
when there's an actual explosion in the area and then somebody talks about explosions where you're at, then you start to worry. Like if there's nothing going on, like that, you're a crank. But there was something happening. So fortunately, nothing at Oktoberfest.
Okay. Well, that's good. Glad they made it through that. Man, that has got to be, do you know, and you may not, was it like closed before it opened for the day, or was this like a midday kind of thing? Because
It may have been closed earlier in the day because I believe the explosion happened in the morning. So it was probably early portions of the day. I think Oktoberfest was opened around, every day was opening around 10 a.m. I think the explosion, I don't remember the exact time, was around that time. So it's very likely they just prevented it from opening or closed it shortly after opening. But I didn't see the actual time frame for that.
Because I was just thinking what an absolute monumental task it would be to like close it down if it was already
get everybody out
with people there. Yeah, crazy stuff. Well, Brian, they were quick on this year. We usually report Oktoberfest stats for the previous year when we do our Oktoberfest show the next year, but they've actually already released some stats for this year's festival.
Yeah. So it's crazy. It ended on Sunday, October 5th, as we probably know. There was an estimated 6.5 million people that attended, a small decrease from 6.7 million in 2024. They are attributing some of this decline to the temporary closure due to the bomb threat. So maybe this did happen during a more popular time. I don't remember which day of the week it was, but an estimated 6.5 million liters or 1.7 million gallons of beer was served, which is down from 7 million liters in 2024. So a little bit of a decrease. Again, could be, partially because of the temporary closure. Sales of non-alcoholic beer saw an increase of between 6 and 10%. They don't have exact numbers on that. Demand for non-alcoholic beverages overall was up 3%. Attendees were eating more. Food sales, excluding chicken for some reason, are estimated to have increased by 5 to 6%. But roasted chicken, Hendel, sales levels were reportedly about the same as last year. Maybe they separated them out because everything else grew, and the chicken desire remained the same. But probably high. It's already the biggest thing selling there. So, yeah, as here's the thing. Something that occurred to me while I was reading all these stats. As popular as roasted chicken is in the Oktoberfest in Munich, I don't recall seeing it on Oktoberfest menus around here in the U.S., at least not here anywhere in Georgia. Like, I don't see chicken listed. It's Schweinhaxe. It's
wurst,
schnitzel,
a variety of wurst, schnitzel, spatzel. That's unless you go. I remember Bold Monk last year when we went to their Oktoberfest. They did have the roast chicken on there as an option. So I've seen it a couple times, but it's not standard. I think most places here that are trying to do something Oktoberfest, you're going to get a schnitzel and you're going to have some bratwurst or a couple of different kind of wurst. That's kind of the standard fare. If they kick it up a notch, you'll have Schweinhaxe, and I don't even hear them mentioning Schweinhaxe at the actual Oktoberfest there. So
I imagine it's that. I wonder how available that is, because that's a kind of a serious undertaking. It's a serious cut of meat.
Really. Like, I wonder if it's something that's truly big at an actual Oktoberfest, or if that's an Americanized thing, kind of like St. Patrick's Day and corned beef. Like in Ireland, that's not a thing, but here it's like, well, you got to have corned beef on St. Patrick's Day.
That's right. So
the Irish are like, no, you really don't.
No, you don't. You don't need that.
Didn't they say it's like ham? Like that's the St. Patrick's Day thing, is like they roast a ham or something like that?
Yeah, was it some sort of a bacon or something like that? They have. Yes, it's not exactly what we have here. I think it's something else. I don't recall off the top of my head exactly what it is, but yeah, I think it's closer to ham than it is corned beef. But I'm going to still eat corned beef. I don't care if it's authentic or not.
Yeah, we're fine. We've made it American. We'll do what we got to do here. So,
but to finish things out, the attempted theft of Stein's Masskrugs was back up this year. We talked about in the Oktoberfest show how we had dipped last year significantly, and what that said about humanity. No, it's back up. It's higher than ever. There were 116,000 attempted thefts of Steins that were thwarted. They got them back, which is an increase from 98,000 in 2024. And it's only 400 more total than 2023. So a slight increase. So the crime is back on track there. Lost and Found, their office reported a substantially higher number of items, with 4,500 lost items being turned in, up from 3,500 in 2024. So people are losing their stuff. That includes 1,100 items of clothing. I'm assuming those are mostly jackets, coats, that sort of thing, but who knows? and 400 smartphones. Like, how are 400 people losing their smartphones? I don't know. I guess that's 6.
Yeah, I've lost my phone many times at like events and that. Amazingly enough, I've lost my phone twice on trips to Florida. Like I'll just get busy and leave it sitting somewhere. I lost it at Disney World one time. I left it sitting on a bench and fortunately backtracked and got it. And then actually, Brian, when we went down one time for Hunapoo's Day, I think I dropped it in a parking lot.
You did,
we ended up finding out. And I used the Find My iPhone feature and pinged it down. And it was laying in the parking lot of a place we'd been. So yeah, I have managed to lose my phone. And man, I'm glad they've got that Find That iPhone feature because those things are way too expensive to just lose.
Yeah, the parking lot situation, I do remember that. It would have been extremely hard to figure out where that was without that.
No way. No way.
Absolutely. It would have been gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it, people. You're out there, you're festing, you're drinking, things happen.
It did occur to me, we're talking about 6.5 million people and only 400 phones. So I guess that's within the acceptable range of
relatively speaking.
Yeah.
Well, Brian, we love talking about the different generations, what they contribute or take away from society. And apparently Gen X has actually topped the list of the group that now purchases the most packaged consumer goods.
Yes, and that packaged consumer goods includes beer.
That's
the important part here.
Yeah.
Yes, for the first time ever, Gen X is that's people born between 1965 and 1981. We account for the largest total sales of packaged consumer goods at 34.1%, surpassing boomers who now have 33.7%. This is according to Numerator, as reported on Brewbound. The boomer share of total sales has fallen by nearly 10% since 2020, when it was a commanding 43.4%. They were buying everything. Millennials and Gen Z collectively account for 32% of total sales, up 8% since 2020. But millennials are at 26.1%, and Gen Z is only contributing about 6.1%. So it's there. I still think a lot of them are so young that they're not able. They have no income yet.
Give them time.
Yeah. A lot of people are, they're not drinking. It's like, yes, they're 12. They shouldn't be drinking. Come on. Anyway, Gen X also leads the average in annual total spend per household. So we are spending on these packaged consumer goods $25,000, $468. That doesn't make sense. $25,468. That's
there you
how
go.
It works. Yeah, I got it all together there. And we're also making, and I'm in Gen X, so spoiler. And we're also making the most trips annually to do our spending at 824. But millennials lead on average spending per trip when they do go out. They're spending $33, and Gen X is only spending $31. As to where everybody is going to do their spending these days, Costco and other club retailers have seen big gains. C-stores, aka convenience stores, are also growing big, and I believe they are very popular with Gen Z. Walmart is the most popular retail for all four generations, and they're capturing 15% of our total spending per dollars on this category. Gen Z loves Target. Amazon does really well with Gen X and millennials. I'm a big fan of Amazon, despite all of their various issues. Very convenient. If you're looking to get a little of that Gen X money that's so big right now, your best bet is word of mouth for your products and your business, and online reviews. We like our online reviews. We want to see what other people have said about things. But if you want to get Gen Z, you need to use a social media. Untappd might capture both Gen X and Gen Z, it occurred to me, because that's kind of social media, but I don't know how much Gen Z actually uses it. But you got to make sure you keep your social media interesting. Gen Z is 23% more likely to move to a competitor simply because they got bored of your brand. Like, I'm tired of you. I'm just going to try out the next guy's stuff. Boomers, on the other hand, are the most loyal. 26% of them rarely consider new brands. So you want to hang on to them if you can, and if you happen to grab some, that's a benefit, because they're gonna stay with you no matter what. So that's the breakdown. That's how people are spending their money these days.
You got to get on them TikToks, Brian, if you want to get the Gen Zers in there.
I'm not trying to sell anything exactly. So
yeah.
I don't
the big thing with this is like TikTok generation and all that. Attention spans are going absolutely shot. Like I had a meeting at work the other day, and a Teams meeting, us on camera chatting, and several people in there were even talking about like watching like a 30-minute TV show. They're like, oh, I can't do that. Or a movie or something like that. They're like, no, I got 30 seconds. To do this. And I said they ought to make a TV show that's a series, but it's just 1 minute clips, like an episode is 1 minute. They're like, oh, they have those. So,
I'm pretty sure that already exists. Yeah.
Isn't like the Chive TV where it's the biggest fails and it's just reel after reel of fails, or like back in the day it was America's Funniest Home Videos, where it was like you had 30 seconds of a video and then dude talking about it, making really bad jokes, and then the next video, So
I mean, I do browse the social media. I'll browse TikTok I've got a very curated list on there, but they like to throw you suggested stuff, and I look at the shorts on YouTube or Facebook, and when it gets outside of the people that I actually follow, the content is just horrendous. I mean, what is considered entertainment content? Like, there's pranks that are obviously not pranks, like just totally made up stuff. A big one, Brian, is I think they call it mukbangs or mukbangs or something, but people just gorging themselves. And apparently they get thousands or millions of views. And I'm like, what is happening? I'm the old guy, and I guess I don't get it. But what is content out there and stuff that is popular just blows my mind.
I am still amused and annoyed by anybody who buys into it. I think by now most people realize it's baloney, but I learned this in Italy, and it's worst, absolute worst garbage, like cooking short ever. It always involves a sheet pan. It always involves dumping raw, uncooked noodles and things from a can with the juice that comes with it that everybody strains off. Doing the worst garbage, awful things you can possibly do, and saying, I learned this in Italy. And like, no, you didn't. And you're just trying to make every single person in the audience angry. And they
rage bait videos, Brian.
Yeah.
Rage bait.
People buy into it. I watch a few people that critique those and make fun of them. And I find that mildly amusing. But for the most part, I would never watch them without somebody talking crap about how dumb they are.
See, Brian, you bring up another topic there. People reacting to videos, reaction videos. Why is that a thing? Why is that a genre that people want to see there?
Some
crazy.
People are really good, like off the cuff, like humor, like just making fun of stuff. There are some people that are extremely good at it. I'm like, you know what? You're good at this. Like you've made something that is abysmal, funny, and sort of amusing because of what you added to it. But that's the only reason. The original content is garbage. Like it's not worth watching. The original content plus their contribution to it is actually worth watching. I can see why this would be worthwhile. I don't watch a lot of that though. I think most of it's stupid, but
I've seen ones where the reaction is literally just someone going, ooh, or oh, or that had to hurt. Like that's the entire
that's dumb
reaction.
There's no point to that. That's somebody was already following them and likes them for some reason, and they just wanted to see how they would react. I don't care. You're a stranger to me, and your oohs and ahs, like, doesn't matter.
Madness. Well, back to alcohol, Brian. So people in power find very creative ways to work around things. And I know a famous story is before the Cuban embargo, Kennedy stockpiled cigars. And he got that. Well, during Prohibition, good old Winston Churchill visited the United States, and he figured out a way around that, of course, Brian.
Yes, he did. While he was visiting the U.S. in 1932, 1 year before Prohibition was repealed, Winston Churchill obtained a doctor's note from a physician in New York that prescribed him alcohol for pain relief following a car accident. And apparently he really did have a car accident someplace in the U.S., possibly New York. The note specifically mentioned his need for, quote, alcoholic spirits, especially at meal times. And it also noted that, quote, the quantity is naturally indefinite, but the minimum requirements would be 250 cubic centimeters. I love that it was measured. I put that into Google. to find out what on earth that even means. That's about 8.5 fluid ounces. If he was drinking whiskey, that's a lot of whiskey.
That's a lot of, yeah.
He drank a fair amount of champagne too, so it could have been champagne plus whiskey. I don't know, but it's enough to get. He drank a lot. It's enough to probably get him by. The thing is, during Prohibition, the Volstead Act allowed for alcohol to be sold for medicinal purposes with a doctor's prescription, which is why this was possible. The loophole led to a boom in medicinal whiskey sales, with prescriptions and permits being issued in high volumes, especially in the early years of Prohibition. Apparently, doctors were doing this, and some of them watered down their whiskey. And I think that the doctors were kind of bootlegging at a certain level. I think everybody was, honestly. Everybody that could find a way to get you alcohol during the Prohibition was doing it and making some money off of it. But there were attempts to tighten the rules, but they never did away with medicinal alcohol entirely, which is why right up there at the end, Winston Churchill was getting his medicinal booze while he was having his steaks and everything else.
Good stuff, man. It's like before we started seeing more legalization of marijuana here in the U.S., people used to get their medical cards. Different places that would do that. And there was a lot of creative ways during Prohibition to get around things. One story I heard, I may not have it exactly right, but I'll have the spirit of it here, is there was a company that made, I think it may have been a brewery that switched over to something else. But one thing they made was like concentrated fruit juices. And so you would get like a concentrated grape concentrate. And it's like, to make a picture of grape drink, put this jar in with 2 liters of water or whatever. And it would comes with a free packet or a free cake. I think they used cakes a lot back then, of yeast. And it would even say something in there. It's like, whatever you do, don't put this yeast in your grape juice because it will produce alcohol. Like, whatever you do not do this for 48 to 72 hours.
And you definitely do not want to enjoy that good time. That good time is highly illegal.
That's it.
It's really bad for you. You don't want to have that at all.
Please enjoy your grape juice and make some bread with this free yeast that we threw in here for you.
We want you to throw it away. Honestly, the instructions is throw away the yeast. Definitely
do not put it in the grape juice.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Well, Brian, before we move on, how about we give a shout out to our sponsor?
Yeah, so the weather around here has been cooler and kind of moody lately. Today, as I'm recording this, it finally brightened up a bit. But anyway, it's been like it's about to rain constantly, but it doesn't. And it's got me in the mood for bigger, darker, richer, and boozier beers. I'd say it's stout season now, but it's always stout season, really. So let's see what Truck and Tap can do to slake my thirst for darkness. Here are my beer picks for the week. At Truck and Tap Woodstock, I'm going with North Coast's Old Rasputin Nitro. That's right. The classic Russian Imperial Stout is getting the Nitro treatment at Woodstock. Dark chocolate espresso, that silky Nitro mouthfeel. This is an easy pick. You got to get this if you see it. At the Duluth location, I'm getting Oscar Blues Death by Coconut. Who doesn't love a good coconut porter? And you don't see, I feel like I saw coconut porters around a lot more like 5 years ago than I do now. You don't see them around much anymore. So it's a good idea to get some of this while you can, because I don't know when you're going to see the next one, probably next year when they release it again. At Truck and Tap Alpharetta, my pick is New Realms Oaxaca Chaca. I've recommended it before, and I'm going to do it again. This Mexican pastry stout is one of my favorite local stouts. In case you've forgotten, it's made with vanilla, cinnamon, chili peppers, and locally roasted cocoa nibs. Back in the day, this is the kind of beer you would have had to stand in line for, possibly like at holidays or whatever, to get some before the keg kicked. So now, because of the way beer is, you can just walk up to Truck and Tap and get one within 5 seconds and be enjoying it. It's great. And finally, at the Lawrenceville location, I'm going with Jackie O's Dark Apparition, which is a beer I might actually be drinking later. It's a Russian Imperial Stout with deep flavors of coffee, chocolate, caramel, and molasses. It sounds like a beer that would push the ABV cap here in Georgia, but no, it's just a mere 10.5% ABV. Very light, very sessionable, no problem. And I can confirm it's good and good for what ails you. And there you have my dark beer picks for the week. As always, if you'd like to see the full tap list before stopping by, take a look at truckandtap.com. Taps change quickly, so you never know what great new beer might be going on. And if you'd like to see what the food trucks are serving and what events are happening, you got your trivia, your karaoke, your live music, and recently Oktoberfest. You can also find that at truckandtap.com. Everything you need to know can be found at truckandtap.com. So check that out. And thank you to Truck and Tap for your support.
Thanks, Truck and Tap. You're the best. Brian, beer companies find very creative ways to do marketing. And it gets a little crazier every time. And if you are also a crazy consumer, that can be to your benefit. And the latest one Busch Light is doing is they're going to give you beer if you change your name.
Yes, they are offering one fan 19 years of free beer if they are willing to legally change their name to Hunter. Not only that, they will cover the cost of the legal name change. So if you do decide to do that, this incredibly odd contest is intended to promote the 19th annual release of Busch Light's seasonal hunting cans, which are camouflage colored. So I would say you'd see those in your stores, but because they're camouflage, you probably won't. And they and they say that part of all of this is they say the name Hunter has seen a dramatic decline in popularity over the last 5 years, and Busch Light says they refuse to let the name vanish. As for the free beer, it will be dispensed by way of an annual $5,500 prepaid card, which will total $104,500 over 19 years. If you'd like to become a hunter, at least in name, then you have until Monday, October 13th to enter. And I think you have to do it via social media with the appropriate hashtags. Google it. You'll find all the details on that. But don't go changing your name right away. You need to wait. Entrants should not legally change their name until they have been officially notified that they've won the contest. You just change your name, you're not going to get anything. And they're not going to pay for that either. What I wonder, and I looked through the rules about this a little bit to see if there was anything that obviously jumped out. I wonder if they pick a winner and they do everything else, but they refuse to actually change their name, but they don't ever do that. I wonder if they still win or if there's what happens there. Like I didn't
guess
see.
No, I mean that seems to be the crux of the contest there, right?
Yes, but everything now, I was reading through the thing, like they talked about how you have to answer certain things and there might be a background check and some other stuff which is weird. But anyway, I didn't see anything specifically about proving the name, but that might be something that there's follow-up material. I just wondered if they're really going to make people change their name or not.
I don't see the reason to do this if you don't, Brian. So
I think you have to be willing to. Yeah.
I was thinking I wouldn't want to do that, man. I've been on this earth too long as Tim to do that. But I mean, nothing's saying I couldn't be a Hunter Timothy, and then I just keep my name, for the purpose of, but I would need some assistance because there's going to be a whole lot of paperwork if I legally change my name. There's just so much different stuff that I would have to do there. So
you could be.
I got an interesting
Timothy.
one.
Yeah.
I won't tell you the guy's name because I'm not looking to out anybody here, but a guy that worked for me one time, his legal first name was Male, Male, because they wrote on the wrong line of the birth certificate.
Oh no.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I mean, of course he worked for me. So I had to get this guy's, documents and stuff. And he was legitimate. His first name, on paper was Male.
I have to wonder with something like that, where it's an obvious mistake, just go back and fix.
I mean, you could, right?
Yeah,
but,
right.
Maybe he just, it's perhaps his parents didn't mess with it. And by the time he got up to it, he just, because there's a lot of people that go by their middle name. So maybe it just wasn't a big deal.
That's possible. Yeah.
Maybe it just wasn't a big deal. First name, Male. Sex.
Yeah, it's true.
This is going to blow your mind. Also Male.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Interesting.
Well, so Tim, you said you wouldn't do it for Busch Light, but is there a beer, if you got 19 years free supply of, is there a beer you wouldn't change your name for?
No. And that's, they're talking about, I wouldn't mind having an extra $5,500 a year, but I don't believe that changing my name. But again, Nate, I go back to the fact that I could say, I could become a Hunter Timothy there and do that. I would want them to cover the other legal documents that I would have to change, like at least from the cost standpoint of doing that, because over the course of 19 years, I mean, let's be honest, guys. I don't mean to say that $100,000 is not a lot of money, but spread out over 19 years, what's $5,500 going to be worth 20 years from now?
It's a fair point. Half of the value, probably. It's if that, like 20 years from now, is that worth $2,000 in today's dollars?
Right.
I don't know.
And you call JG Wentworth and get your annuity paid out, but how much are you going to get, out of that deal? 40, 50K? I don't know. Maybe it's worth it. So, yeah, I'd say it's not enough to make an instant decision there, Nate. It would have to be a bigger number for me to say, yeah, let's do it. How about you, Nate? What about you? Where you are in life right now? Is $5,500 enough to make you do
that? Honestly, I actually like my name, so say no. Extra $5,500 is. Now, here's the thing, though, is that's $5,500 for a year's supply of Busch Light valuation. But if you said, hey, I'm going to change my name for a year's supply of Black Tuesday, well, that valuation goes up. So the dollar amount would change.
It would, but it sounds like they are. And Beer Snob Sean said, we got to define what 19 years worth of beer needs to be. And it sounds like they have, because they're saying that stipend of $5,500 a year. So it looks like more than saying a number of beers, they're saying a value, an estimated annual value on the beers there. So it's interesting.
There's a lot of math involved, but I'll change my name to George if Buffalo Trace wants to give me a yearly supply of George T. Stagg every year for 19 years. I would consider doing that.
Might consider doing that. Yeah,
I might do that. Yeah, I do like me some George T. Stagg, and if that was constantly flowing and they didn't screw with it too much between now and 20 years from now,
right?
Okay, we might be talking.
So here's another thing: you do have to pay tax on winnings. So
it's a fair point.
You're going to have to pay $5,500, and since it is a big chunk, it's going to be considerable. So what are you going to lose there? 40% or something?
I think that's you'd pay each year on the $5,500, right? So I don't know. I think it depends on what bracket you're in.
Let's say you're getting $3,000 out of it, or $3,500. Let's say. Hey, look, let's not kid that another chunk of $3,500 is nice.
That would be very nice.
You can do good things with $3,500, but is it enough to change your name and go through all that? And again, it's there's a lot that goes into it outside of that. So
I'd like to amend my statement. I would do it for George T. Stagg, but I had to be guaranteed that I had the opportunity to purchase whenever I desired to purchase.
Okay,
so
and
just getting the money and then not being able to buy it would be that would.
One more thing before we move on, because we've stuck on name changes long enough. But Publishers Clearinghouse did a thing where it's like, I think it was $1 million for life, or maybe it was like $5,000 a week for life or something like that. They went bankrupt recently. And
no kidding.
They talked to a guy that had won that like 19 years ago. And he's like, I quit working. I was getting $5,000 a week. He's like, I've been out of my trade. He's like, what do I do now? Now I would think that if you've been getting $5,000 a week for 19 years, you should have something squirreled away.
You'd have something set aside for rainy day.
And again, it would be a bad way to look at it, but he probably thought, well, I've got this coming for life, But so it sounds like because he sounded very concerned as how he was going to live and take care of his expenses. So I'm assuming he did not put away some of that he won.
Now you gotta bust loose initially and blow every penny you get, but over the long term, you gotta what am I doing with? I need to have investments. I need to do something with this. So I can't just keep frittering it away.
You can live really good and invest on $5,000 a week.
Oh, for sure.
You can do both of those things for sure. Yeah, interesting. Well, Brian, we know that you're a fan of the long beers, and man, they just keep getting longer. And the biggest or the longest long beer, the longer long beer, is coming from Voodoo Ranger.
Yeah, they've got a big new marketing tour for the Voodoo Ranger brand. How big it is? It features a 20-foot tanker shaped like a Juice Force stovepipe beer can. Yes, It's the longest long beer ever, and it requires a truck to move. It really has beer inside of it too. The Juice Force Tanker Tour is traveling across 4 states, California, Colorado, Texas, and Arizona, making appearances at major events like football games and concerts. And if you see it, you can scan a QR code on the truck that will give you a $5 discount on cans of Juice Force, which is nice. And there's a live beer gauge on the side of the massive long beer that counts down the number of pours until the tank runs dry. So that's exciting. I guess if you go up and get a beer off of the tank itself. Stovepipes of Voodoo Ranger are paying the bills for New Belgium these days, obviously. And the Tanker Tour just highlights the brand's focus on large-scale beers and experimental marketing. Those aren't going away anytime soon. You're going to continue to see those. You're probably going to see more of them. Somehow they're probably going to expand on them as the time goes on. They keep adding to it. And they definitely know what's working for them. So this is fun. I would try to go see this. I'm like, as a fan of the long beer and the gimmicky marketing, I would actually go to this if I knew it was dropping someplace and go get a drink off of it, take a picture or two, that kind of thing. It's silly. I know it is. I know yeah.
And the popularity of Voodoo Ranger is kind of an anomaly in craft beer right now.
Yeah.
That someone has a big beer company has a brand, that's not a macro that is that popular. But boy, they've marketed it. And I've seen they did like a fake amusement park thing. They even built a website for it. So they've kept the foot on the gas with this. So hey,
I think part of it is
paying off for them.
Their kind of marketing doesn't get boring to Gen Z. And I think that's the Gen Z that I think millennials may be drinking more Voodoo Ranger than most people. But I think Gen Z probably is because they keep it interesting. They keep fresh
Brian.
and lively. So
that's the next Gen Z study we need to see.
The beer is good enough. It's good enough. Yeah.
Good enough. Well, Brian, there is a new whale in the Maine Beer Company tap room. Brian, what in the world is that all about?
Yes, it's more than how big are their bottles? 15 ounces, 16 ounces,
500 ml.
They're 500 mLs. Yeah, it's bigger than that. So the Maine Beer Company has installed a 50-foot skeleton of a fin whale named Finny in its tap room. And why this is really interesting, their tap room is one of the few places outside of a museum where you can see a real exhibit of a whale skeleton like this at this scale. Like this doesn't exist anywhere else, where it's not like some crazy replica or whatever. So Finny the whale beached near Steuben, Maine on Thanksgiving 2 years ago. The skeleton was recovered and restored by the College of the Atlantic's Allied Whale Program with financial support from Maine Beer Company. So Maine Beer Company has had a long-standing partnership with Allied Whale dating back to 2009. And a fun fact, the brewery's popular IPA lunch, which everybody's heard about, I think, is named after a different fin whale with a distinctive bite mark on her dorsal fin. So apparently that whale was lunch for some intending shark. Anyway, the whale skeleton was officially welcomed at an event on October 1st that served as a fundraiser for the Allied Whale Program. So I think this happened after Mo Mike Nate visited Maine Beer Company. You were there, right? And it wasn't there at that point in time.
It was not there.
That's too bad. That would have been cool to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously, that's museum. That's a museum level exhibit,
right?
Constructed. No small thing. So very cool. Maine Beer Company. I like them a lot. I like everything they stand for. I like that they do this kind of thing. I like that they have a whale skeleton in their tap room, and I need to get up there at some point in time. Yeah,
that is pretty darn cool. Good stuff. Well, y'all, that about wraps it up for our show this week. We, as always, appreciate you hanging out with us. If you enjoy what we're doing, we'd love for you to tell a friend to tune in and check out the show. If you really dig us, please go to patreon.com/beerguys. Pledge your support. We'll hook you up. We'll get you in the Discord. We'll send you some swag, and we'll just really appreciate you, which is the biggest part of all of this. We definitely will. Well, with all that said, we hope that you all have a really, really good week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers.